Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus, Pimp Sun Kiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, certainly, for a sacral chakra reading. A real quick sacral chakra reading for the collective. And for this one in particular, we are going to be focusing on messages from the sacral chakra of the collective that you all have been refusing to accept. Okay, so without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into now. Like I said, I'm gonna be here right quick, right fast, certainly, especially for this one, as this is, a part of a whole bigger thing. Because as I am working on a bigger pick a card reading for the sacral chakra, I'm realizing that there are a lot of things that are and have been asked backwards in a lot of our understandings and functionalities in our sacral chakras, especially as it correlates with our heart chakras. But it'll all make sense as we get through the whole process of it all. But like I said, for this particular reading in particular, we're focusing on messages from the collective's sacral chakra that you all have been refusing to accept. Okay. Now, I'm being very mindful with the pronouns that I'm using because I already did my pull for myself. Okay, so stay out of my business. Anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the specificities of these cards. Now, like I said, messages from the sacral chakra that y'all have been refusing to accept. So the first card that we are dealing with here is the abandonment card from the Love and Money Oracle deck, and it is in reverse. So we have the number 29. Put the 2 and the 9 together, you get the number 11. So we're dealing with a lot of parallels and some calls for individuality as well as independence within co-collaboration. Moving forward, reading the card, I never believed. Now, mind you, this is reverse, so we're focusing on the reversed message. Okay. I never believed in the concept of soulmates, but now, after pushing you away, I can't help but regret my actions and wish I could take it all back, okay? So one way or another, there are a lot of you that are dealing with having abandoned someone and dealing with the ramifications, the consequences, the accountability that comes with that. I'm hearing that someone needs to accept that they did what was best for them, and they need to be unapologetic about that. And remembering too that the sacral chakra has to do with amusement, entertainment, leisure, desire, emotions. Okay, and remember that emotions are attached to the intuition, while we are still not meant to be emotionally driven. Okay, so that being said, take the meat and spit out the bone when it comes to that, because there are some of you who were thinking with your dick one way or another. You were thinking too leisure about things. You were mistaking entertainment for adornment. You were mistaking amusement for actual love languages and the actual sensation of love and appreciating people or appreciating someone. And this abandonment allowed you to see how you were doing that, and allowed you and is allowing you, you should be using it to allow yourself to learn from that and to put more investment into forming more meaningful bonds and learning what it is to actually love and be in love, as opposed to just forming attachments with people who entertain you and or who you are entertained by and or who you have been taught you are supposed to entertain. Okay, bear with me. Overall, you all are needing to use and tap into your sacral chakra for the sake of releasing yourself from the chains of this situation, however it's coming or going. Even if you did make some trespasses, you did make some mistakes, you made some betrayals, use your sacral chakra to facilitate self-forgiveness. And yes, forgiveness usually resonates around the heart chakra. However, because the issue is rooted in the sacral, there are some things that are having to be addressed in the sacral and therefore used from the sacral in order to heal the heart. All right, moving on. We then have the transition card, and this one is really taking on a sideways meaning, and I'm gonna read it. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and grace. The number on that one is 43. You put 4 and 3 together and you get the number 7, which is a number of luck as well as karma. Okay, number of cycles, number of milestones. Messages from that card. Some people are resisting the transition that they are in. They are heavily attached to old versions of themselves, old eras. They are heavily attached to nostalgia and things of that nature, and it's giving attachment to a fault. And as you may have heard my daddy in the background, nothing is a coincidence, honey. You came in and didn't look back, didn't you? That's the energy that some of you are needing to have in this situation. And it's going back to that abandonment card, where a lot of you that resonate with the message of you did what was best for you, you're also resonating with this message of go ahead and embrace that transition. You did what was best for you. Go in and don't look back. Go out and don't look back. Go wherever it is that you know you need and desire to go, and do not look back. And like I said, there may be some of you that resonate with the abandonment message of you did what was best, but maybe the way you went about it was weird, and so you're dealing with like some guilt there. Address the way you went about it and accept that you did what was best for you. You can do both. You can hold yourself accountable. You can appreciate yourself for doing what you needed to do. And you can forgive yourself and all of that all at the same time. You don't have to forever stay in this position to just, beat yourself up and all this and that. And like you don't deserve to proceed. Because just because you made a mistake, just because you trespass, doesn't mean that you don't deserve to redeem. If you're willing to redeem, if you're willing to take the accountability and all of that, you deserve to proceed and progress. Okay. So another side of this is it's interesting because it's similar, dealing with those parallels. It's similar to someone who has a damaged root chakra who moves around a lot physically, jumps around from job to job, jumps around from home to home, constantly moving from state to state, city to city, da da da. But in this case, it's giving more. You're used to constantly going through metamorphosis really, really fast, really, really constant. You're used to constant growth through constantly being just thrown into challenging waters, dramatic situations, and this and that, and therefore having to power the fuck up in a way that inevitably sends you through quantum leaps back to back to back to back to back to back to back. And while that is great and very powerful and something that you should definitely, while you may have some resentment behind that experience, also be proud of yourself and appreciative of the universe and the Most High for keeping you protected and all of that through all of that. But Spirit is saying here, and your sacral chakra is saying here, a message that you all have been refusing to accept. Those of you that are on this side of the spectrum of the transition card, you have transitioned and or you are transitioning into a cycle that you need to just be in, because it's meant for you to be in it and enjoy it. And enjoyment is also a part of the sacral chakra. So a part of some messages and things from y'all sacral chakra, those of you that are resonating with this end of the spectrum, is that y'all have been refusing to accept enjoyment. Some of you have been refusing to accept enjoyment, achievement, celebration, accolades. Refusing to believe that you can put your gun down, you can have fun now, you can tell your niggas that you won now, one down. Like, that's what it's given. Like, you've been through so many transitions, so many different lives, so many different things. You've been through so many different quantum leaps, portal jumps, so many different dimensions, slaying goons and goblins on the road to Dublin, rocky as a motherfucker, to the point where now you've burnt out so many times. Now you should know when to stop at this point, but your muscle memory is still attached to the hustle and bustle. And not just like in a physical sense, but in a spiritual sense, which can be even scarier, right? So this message is like, y'all need to really be tender with yourselves. Y'all need to really be tender with yourselves. And also, so that this doesn't get too lengthy, that just opened up another branch of this reading for me to do. I'm gonna be sure to do a branch of this to tap into that particular subject. So those of you that resonate with that message in particular, y'all be sure to stay tuned on all of my content so that y'all can be sure to get your message. But hey, if it's divinely designed for you, it will find you. You will find it one way or another. Nothing is a coincidence. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move to the next card. And there's a consistent running theme here. So we have deadline. It is also in reverse. We have the number 6 and 7 out here. Put 6 and 7 together and you get 13, which is a taboo number, but it is not unlucky, okay? You put the numbers 1 and 3 together and you get the number 4, which is the number of manifestations. And to address it, the number 13 is a number of vulnerability. It is a number that represents the veil being thin. That's why a lot of people consider it demonic or, unlucky and things of that nature. Because when the veil is thin, shit is extra fertile, extra vulnerable, and anybody and anything can put their hands in and, reap something from the sowing of it all. But it's not innately bad, and it just requires a lot of faith when it comes to working with that number. So I wanted to pinpoint that specifically for y'all to take that in and, meditate on it personally with your divine realm and ask for clarity on how they want you to use the specificities of that for your specificities. And the card reads off, and this is the reverse message, so we're focusing on the reverse. Our relationship became another task to manage, and we postponed us thinking there would be more time. Oh my gosh, I told y'all there's a theme here. And of course, like I said, these are messages from the sacral chakra, which deals with leisure, enjoyment, happiness, fun, entertainment, amusement, creativity, sex, sensuality, emotions, water, okay? As well as, so freedom, liberation, things of that nature. As well as like really, really deep spirituality, okay? So this is dealing with the frequency of enslavement versus the frequency of liberation. So a lot of you who may be resonating with this message, you're needing to address your mindset behind if you see relationships and or certain interactions and experiences as prisons. Another end of that could be seeing and or handling relationships as jobs. And while relationships take work, they should not be handled as jobs, okay? The love and money frequencies, they go hand in hand, but Even in business, there should be fun. Everything should not be handled from an obligatory standpoint, and that's what that card entails. And so this is dealing with the frequency of objectification. And you all are being called to address where that is coming from. What is that influence? Who taught you to objectify yourself in relationships? And it came out specifically as that because while, you may have the experience of being objectified in relationships, Spirit is saying that there is a specific special calling for you all to address how you all have been taught and trained to objectify yourself. And therefore put yourself in positions to constantly be objectified in your relationships and or objectify yourself in your relationships, whether the other parties are doing so to you or not. So Spirit is calling out to action to us explore for yourselves upon that topic. All right, into the final two cards here, in which is really not a surprise to me that the Six of Cups is here, because this is dealing with childhood, reflection, inner child work, reminiscing, recollecting upon past experience, past lives, and things of that nature. And like I said, specifically around childhood and inner child energy. Okay, get into the roots of things, recognizing and taking account of, quote unquote, it all starts at home, quote unquote. Okay. Also, we have the Ace of Pentacles here, and this is confirming to me an energy that's been up here, and I kind of sort of addressed it. This doesn't apply to everyone, so take the meat and spit out the bone. But a lot of people in this collective are overactive in their root chakra, and it is blocking and or damaging your sacral chakra. Okay, so it's very hard for you to see the forest for the trees because you're being overly physical about everything. So you're missing the messages and you're burning yourself out because you're wearing your solar plexus out as well, draining your own sense of confidence because you're not taking into account your spiritual self. You're not tapping into the water of yourself. Humans are made up of majority water. So when we neglect our element of water, that puts us on a intense frequency of self-hate, which domino affects a whole lot of other shit. So amongst that, it's a real big calling here in this reading. And like I said, that's tapping into the reflective elements, and also it's a call to divest. And while we have the Ace of Pentacles here, the Ace of Pentacles is here because Spirit is, quote unquote, speaking y'all's language. Okay, they're using the Ace of Pentacles, but in actuality, this is the energy of the Ace of Cups. It's directing you all to the energy of the Ace of Cups, which directs you to reevaluate what you are invested in by reevaluating what you have reaped. What you have reaped thus far, what you have reaped in different stages of your life, what you will reap, it is reflective of what you have invested in. Not just physical, not just monetarily, but also and especially even more so energetically, spiritually invested. Because you can invest loads of money in tons of things, but if you are not spiritually invested in it for real, you're not going to reap what you want or think you are going to reap. And so a hint that Spirit is directing me to give y'all is simply stated in how the cards are also reading off. Y'all had different and or bigger spiritual investments as children, which was the truth of your spiritual investment as it concerns your purpose, your truth as who you are, your truth as who you want to be, your truth as why you chose to manifest in this realm. And your village, be it your parents or whoever else was a part of your village, influenced you, trained you, abused you even to invest in things outside of your truth. They taught you to invest in other people's truths and therefore invest in lies as far as you're concerned. And so if you have been dealing with an age-old issue and challenge within yourself of, I'm always able to help other people with their shit, but can't never seem to materialize my own shit or finish my own shit, this is leading up to answering the question as to why that is and why that has been. On another hand, if you have experiences where you create something or you have accomplishments that are what you feel are your very best, your masterpieces, your big ones, and nobody hardly claps, but then when you do something that you consider mediocre, you have a whole crowd of people giving you standing ovations. Spirit is saying it's because your spiritual investment is skewed and distorted, and you're needing to get back clarity and truth about your spiritual investments. And like I said, y'all, this is just a quick intro to what may be a plethora of other sacral videos and chakra videos that I've been doing and will be doing. So if there are some, if there's some clarity or some questions that you feel like you didn't get answers to in this one, don't fret. Of course, do your own work, meet Spirit halfway. But also, I will be doing follow-up videos, follow-up readings to you know, this and others that I've been doing. So, with all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this cow dry. And I am thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you could be one of the first to be back through these queenly quotas for the next time. And be sure to bless that comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.